So define the role of a CMO today as opposed to maybe 5, even 10 years ago.
I think the role of the CMO today is really critical in companies, and I think that's not broadly understood by a lot of CEOs. To me, the role of the CMO is an integrator now. I think what happened over the last 10 or 15 years is marketing got fragmented, and now it's time to put it all back together. Because how do you differentiate between design, public relations, digital media, traditional media? The marketing head of a company or a brand needs to overlook all of that. So I think they have to be integrative thinkers, they have to be whole brain thinkers, they have to work very well inside and outside the company, they have to be great on customer insights, consumer insights, so the demands for emotional intelligence are really high. So I think versus a long time ago where I think they were advertising experts in a lot of companies, I think the smart companies now think about their marketing people as strategists, culture builders, integrators, highly externally focused, and outside of that come great ideas to build demand and to build affinity for brands.
What is the most important relationship that a CMO needs to build in an organization?
By far the most important relationship a CMO has to have is with the CEO. I mean, you can't be effective if you're working without the CEO very, very close to you. In most of my consulting, I do a lot of work with CEOs and CMOs to be sure they're on the same page, that the CMO's priorities and the marketing function's priorities all come out of the CEO's vision and what he or she is trying to do with the business. So there's a lot of relationships that are important, but when CMOs fail, it's they don't have the strong bond with the CEO. When they're exceptionally talented and they have a great run, it's because the CEO and the CMO are really, really linked.
So what's the typical career path that you see for future marketing leaders?
I think future marketing leaders need to have a really diverse career path, much more than we had in the past. I think they need to have time in strategy and new product development and insights. I think they have to have time with a strong customer-facing role, whether it be on a customer team or in some sort of customer service role. I think they have to understand organizational leadership, so a good dose of HR, if you will. And I think they have to stay in positions a bit longer.
To that point, why do clients need agencies today?
Well, to me, and this is a belief I've had for many, many years, I think what agencies bring to clients is a different way of thinking and a more whole-brained way to approach a problem, a way to approach an opportunity. Clients are typically left-brain, very rational, and even some of the best clients lean that way. And agencies are typically right-brain. So when you put them together and clients share with agencies very openly what they're trying to do, the business issues they have, and you let the agencies, you give them great freedom in how they would tackle that issue or that opportunity or that problem, you see remarkable things happen. I mean, I have, in my life at P&G and post-P&G, I've kept a tremendous relationship with many people in the agency world because I think they are really important for business leaders, and they're too often not asked the right questions or not asked to really work to their potential. And as a marketing leader or a CEO, you have this whole group of people out there that are energetic to help you, build an emotional connection with your business and your brand, which at the end of the day drives preference. And they too often call them on Friday and ask them for ads on Monday.
So why would young creatives want to work in advertising these days?
Because I think it still has the potential to transform a business. And it's still highly creative, highly conceptual, highly idea-based, highly collaborative. And you look at most of the great stories of businesses that have grown great value over the last 5, 10, 2 years. They've been about high level of creativity and innovation. Look at what Target's doing in Fashion Week this year. Building this 24-foot doll dressed in Missoni who will be texting, in Times Square. And Michael Francis is a brilliant CMO. He's a good friend of mine. He's been in the job, 12, 13 years, maybe more. He never does the same thing twice. He keeps the brand fresh. Look at its numbers. It's growing in sales, growing in profit, growing in brand equity. because he really understands the brand. He's not afraid to be courageous, and he asks a lot of his agencies.
Mm-hmm. So there's still opportunity there.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So connect the dots between being purpose-driven and yielding profits.
They're highly intertwined. I mean, you can't talk purpose without talking profits. I mean, to me, it's the way to get to profits. It's the way to get to sustainable profits. You know, there's a lot of data out there right now about the level of engagement of employees with companies. It's at all-time lows if you look at the Gallup measurements. And you don't build businesses without highly engaged employees and agencies and all external partners. And you don't do that without purpose. So, you know, the reason I've written my book is I want to make a very strong case for there needs to be a new framework for business, a new storyline, a new narrative, and it starts with ideals or purpose and then activating them in your business system. That's the way you drive sustainable results.
How much, though, of that, you know, employee lack of engagement is a result of the economy and, you know, few jobs that are available out there? I mean, is this a consequence beyond our control as far as a lack of employee engagement right now?
I mean, it's a tough environment, but there's a lot of cash out there in consumers' hands. There's a lot of cash on companies' balance sheets. There are a lot of companies growing like crazy. So to me, do we have some headwinds? Yeah, but it's not an excuse. You know, great leaders figure out how to win in those environments, and the book I wrote is full of cases of that. And my study takes us all the way through the recession. So it's, you know, I can go on all afternoon today about companies that have defied that and are growing double digits. Companies that are 150 years old and companies that are 5 years old.
But how do you what are the logistical steps that companies need to take in order to locate and articulate their core mission?
Well, to me, it all starts with a brand ideal or brand purpose, and the way you get to that is you have to answer a number of questions. You know, why do you exist? What difference are you trying to make in the world? How are you making some difference in the lives of the people you serve? These are a little bit overlapping, these questions. But what inspires employees? What inspires customers, consumers? What is your history? Why did the business start in the first place? You know, when has the business been healthiest? So you go through kind of a Socratic method of asking a lot of these questions, and you don't stop until you have strong answers. And out of that will come an ideal or a purpose, and then that's just the beginning. Then it has to be shared, it has to be tested, it has to be validated, and that takes months often. And then you have to go through your entire activity system as a company. You know, what's your culture? What are the rituals, processes, rewards? You know, how do you think about communication inside, outside the company? How do you think about your innovation process? It all has to start with the ideal and then be measured against the ideal. And too often our measurement falls apart because we measure very short-term financial results and not, you know, employee engagement with the ideal and the ideal's resonance with consumers.